Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to go over the new rules from Google, the new email rules, and how you can be compliant with them. These go into effect officially tomorrow, February 1st, 2024, and they affect you if you send email at all to anyone who has a gmail.com email address. There's also rules from Yahoo Mail that go into effect tomorrow. Same thing. However, we're going to just go over Google's because Google's are more strict than Yahoo. So if you're compliant with the new rules from Google, then you are compliant with the ones from Yahoo. So when do these go into effect? Like I said, officially tomorrow, February 1st. However, little asterisk there is that this is what's known as a rollout. So that means that it's going to be gradual. If you're not compliant, if you're watching this video and you haven't taken care of this, and it's February 7th or something, still you're fine. Just take care of it soon because they're going to just start enforcing this little by little by little. So a certain percentage of your mail could get blocked if you're not compliant with this. And that's the interesting thing about this update too, is that instead of like just filtering your emails to spam, if you are not compliant with these rules, they're actually going to block your emails. So your emails are just not going to deliver at all. So like I said, it's going to be a gradual rollout. So what they're saying is within the next month, if you're not compliant, they're going to start blocking a small percentage of your emails. And then by, the summer, it's going to be blocking all your emails if you're not compliant. So definitely good to get ahead of this. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. There's a little bit of confusion out there right now about who has to follow these rules, what they mean. And I've been, working with our clients here at the email agency and been talking to my contacts at Klaviyo and other people, other people I know in the space as we've sort of over the last few weeks just kind of figured this out and understood exactly what to expect and what you have to do. So here's the thing. The main changes, the main rules affect anyone who sends more than 5,000 emails. They call it a bulk sender. Anyone that sends more than 5,000 emails in a given day. However, there are some changes that affect everyone, no matter how many emails you send, if you're sending to anyone that uses Gmail. So what I'm going to do here in this video is first I'm going to go over the big changes for bulk senders, and then the stuff that affects everyone I'm going to come back to in a couple of minutes here. So stick with me. Basically, how do you know if you're a bulk sender? Okay, so if you are a brand that sends anywhere over 5,000 emails in a given day to Gmail accounts, all right, and you might think you're not there, you might not know, but just to be perfectly clear, this includes transactional emails and any emails at all. So people don't realize how quickly they can hit that 5,000 per day threshold. If you're a brand that, say you're collecting, you're a pretty small brand, you've got an email list that isn't, huge, maybe it's like 1,000 people, but you're collecting new signups every day. Say you're getting, 25 to 50 signups per day. You got to think about it. If you've got a welcome flow, that welcome flow is going to be sending, not just to those 50 people a day that sign up, but then if they're going through the sequence, then it's just going to kind of compound on itself. So within a week, every day that flow might be sending several hundred emails. And then when you add your abandoned cart emails and your transactional emails and your thank you emails when people make a purchase, and then your campaigns on top of that, you might be at that 5,000 number without realizing it. So if you're not sure, it's better to err on the side of you might be sending 5,000 per day. Now, if you are not, if you, or let's say that you do email marketing for clients, and you know that their lists are really small, or you have a very small list, then that 5,000 bulk threshold probably doesn't apply to you. But like I said, there are some new rules that apply to you too. And also my guess is, because these things are progressive, Gmail is putting these things in place right now this year. Probably within the next year or two, they're going to start, expanding this. They're probably going to make this apply to more people. So keep that in mind. All right. So when it comes to the bulk senders, here are the main rules. All right. I'm in my Google Workspace here. I can link to this in the description for this video if you want to check this out. This is the official stuff from Google. And this can be like daunting and confusing, but we've gone through this. There's really three things, okay? And again, right now talking about the people sending more than 5,000 messages per day, more than 5,000 sends per day to Gmails. Three big rules, okay? And Klaviyo has actually made this easier. So if you are using Klaviyo, you're in luck because they have given us this handy dandy checklist here. And I'm going to use Klaviyo in my examples. All right. If you're using a different email service provider, you're going to need to check with them because some of this stuff Klaviyo is taking care of for us, and they've made it really easy. And I'll tell you which things those are. Your ESP might not be doing that, so you might need to check on that. Okay. So here are the three big things. Number one, you need to send from your own sending domain. Your emails have to come from the domain that matches your website, okay? So let me show you what I mean by that. Klaviyo calls it a branded sending domain, okay? You're gonna feel like I'm skipping around for some of these, but trust me, this is like I'm going in order of importance here, and not everything here is as important. This is the big one. So when you join Klaviyo for the first time, by default, you are sending from what's called a shared sending domain, meaning it's a domain that is not your website. You're just sending from a domain that is a pool of a bunch of different companies, a bunch of different websites sending from it. Now, Gmail actually started penalizing shared sending domains a year ago. We've always recommended to our clients, we always get them on their own branded sending domain. For students and people that we consult, we always tell them get your branded sending domain because you're going to have better deliverability anyway. So even if you're not sending to 5,000 per day right now, you really should have your own sending domain. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, here is a client of ours that is pretty new. We started with them just a couple months ago, and I want to show you. This is a welcome email that they had back when they were on a shared domain a few months ago. So notice how it comes from, this company's called Mystic Barrels. They sell like whiskey barrel furniture. Okay, notice how it comes from. This is the sending domain. This is the address. Okay, it's their site, but then it says via ksd1.klaviyomail.com. Okay, this is how you know if you look in your inbox, you see something like this. That is a shared sending domain. And if you don't know right now, if you're sending on a shared domain, send yourself a test email to an email account that you have and see if something weird like this is in the sender name. Okay. Now look at this. Here's an email that I just sent this to myself from their account. This is now they've moved over to a what Klaviyo calls a branded sending domain. It could be called a dedicated sending domain, but notice how it's just their website now. It's not this thing, okay? So I can't emphasize this enough. This is the biggest thing. You have to do this first. You have to be on your own domain. And by default, if you don't know, by default, any email service provider is going to have you on something like this until you take these steps to switch over, okay? How do you switch over? Okay, well, in Klaviyo, if you are using Klaviyo, it's really easy. Okay, let me just show you really quick where you would find this. If you're in your account, you would go here to your menu down here, and you would click Settings. And then under Settings, you would go to Email, Domains. And what's going to happen is right now you're going to see their branded sending domain come up. Okay, and it says branded sending domain active. If you don't have this, instead it's going to say get started, and it's a button, and you push it, and then it literally takes you through all the steps to set it up. You just follow those steps. If you're not using Klaviyo, if you're on Maripost or ActiveCampaign or Sendling, whatever, you're going to have to find in your settings somewhere it's going to show whether or not you're on a branded sending domain. Unfortunately, some email service providers, it's an upsell. You have to be on a higher level of paid account to have that dedicated domain. So check on that. All right. That's really important. Again, that is step one. And if you are a bulk sender, it's required. If you're not sending on this, they're going to start, if you're not sending on your own domain, they're going to start blocking your emails. They're not even going to let your emails go through. So really, really important that you do that. Okay. Second, okay, let's go back to the requirements. All right. Second thing is, if you're a bulk sender, you have to have a DMARC policy. Okay. A DMARC policy, which is something you do on your domain. It is a DNS record. Now, you may wonder, what does that mean? How do I do this? All right. And I'm not going to walk you through every step in the video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'm on a domain that we manage here, and this is in GoDaddy, and this is the DNS records for this domain. And if I scroll down, this is a DMARC policy. Okay. It's a TXT record. And this is it right here. It's this thing. Okay. And you don't even need this part here. You can even ignore this. It's not mandatory. This is like, basically what a DMARC policy is it tells your domain how to treat incoming spam mail. So if you receive spam mail, this DMARC policy is going to tell your domain what to do with it. If this said P equals quarantine, that would mean that they don't send you spam mail. They basically block it, and this report would like tell you that you're getting spam mail. Okay, that's like as basic as I can say it, and it doesn't even matter. All right, all you need to do, like this says P equals none. That means we say spam mail, just don't do anything with it. Just send, it can still come through. It'll go to the spam folder, whatever. But this is a DMARC policy. Look it up. It's not hard. You go into your domain, you put a policy in place like this. Depending on if it's GoDaddy or whoever manages your domain, it's a little bit different how you enter these values. So look it up. But you have to have this policy, because having this policy on your domain, it tells Google that you are a real sender. And it used to be recommended but not required because it helps deliverability. But now, starting February 1, it's going to be required. And if you don't have this, again, they can block your emails from going out. They can block your emails from being received from Gmail people, Gmail users. So again, really, really important. All right. Now, that's the second big requirement. Number 3 is your from address. Okay. So it just goes along with these things that you just set up here. It's really simple. Your from address, where you send email from, okay, has to be aligned, with that domain. So basically, somewhere in your settings, in your ESP, you have something that says, what is the address, right? What is the sender address? It's the thing that's going to show up right here, okay? And there's a setting where you can change this in your ESP. So all you got to do is, once you've got that branded sending domain, you want to make sure that your sender email address matches whatever the address is that you're using. Okay, and in Klaviyo, like sometimes it's a subdomain, right? And sometimes when you set up this dedicated domain, it's something like this. Like if you're Mystic Barrels, like we were just talking about here, then it might say send.mysticbarrels.com or mail.mysticbarrels.com, but you don't want that included in the from address. You just want it to be a real email address that people can send mail to. So That's the big three, okay? That's the big three for bulk senders. Now I'm going to tell you about the ones that are even more important in some ways for bulk senders. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot about one. Big four. There's one more actually, and that's the unsubscribe thing. Now this is actually really important. Sorry, I was saying big three. I just realized it's not three. It's four. I think I was counting this from address with the other one, but listen up. So if you're a bulk sender, the new thing is, and this is a huge change. You have to have a one-click unsubscribe link in your emails. So again, this is if you're sending more than 5,000 per day to Gmail users, you have to have what's known as a one-click unsubscribe link. And this is what it looks like. Okay, if you're looking in a Gmail inbox, it'll even right here. Okay, it's going to say unsubscribe. All right, now this is starting tomorrow. What's going to happen is if you're using Klaviyo, they are automatically going to put that in there in the header of every email. Every email that goes out from Klaviyo is going to have this starting tomorrow, and it doesn't matter how many emails you send. So this is one of those things. If you're on Klaviyo, they have taken care of this for you. All right. You also have to have an unsubscribe link somewhere in the body of your email. It can be in the footer is usually where it is. That is not a change though. That's always been the case. But this is the new thing, is that you have to have this one-click unsubscribe button in the header. So if you're not on Klaviyo, then you want to check with your ESP and see if they're going to do this starting tomorrow, or if you have to add this yourself. And the good news on this one is, from what I read in Google's in their rules about this, they have some things you can look at in terms of like the timing of this enforcement. And again, I'm going to link to this so you can go ahead and check this out. They say that for this one-click unsubscribe requirement, they're not going to start blocking emails from people who don't have this until June. So they're giving you a little extra time to get this one in place because they realize it's like a technical thing you have to add to your emails. So again, if you're not on Klaviyo, you may need to figure out how to get this in there. But if you are on Klaviyo, they're doing this automatically starting tomorrow. Okay, now that is bulk senders. That is people sending 5,000 emails or more per day. Let's talk about everybody else, because even if you're not sending very much email, you could be sending 3 emails a day. There are certain things that apply to you too. All right. And it's really 2 big things. Number 1 is it relates to your from address. Okay. Just like we were talking about a minute ago, where if you're a bulk sender, you need to have this thing match your dedicated sending domain. If you're not a bulk sender, the requirement is that it can't be a Gmail address. All right. So again, they're talking to businesses. So if you're a business, but even if you're an individual who, you're sole proprietor in your business and you've been sending email from a Gmail account, using an ESP, right? Using an email service provider like Klaviyo or ActiveCampaign or one of those, you can't use a gmail.com address or a Yahoo address. It has to be a domain. So if you don't have your own domain, get one, all right? Just buy a domain. You don't have to have a website, but you have to have a domain, and it has to be an active domain, and that's where your emails have to originate from. So that applies to everyone. And that is a big one. Make sure that you do that. Okay, really quick, the last one, and this also applies to everyone, is the spam complaint threshold. Now, this is something that's always been a thing, but now Google is spelling it out for you, and they're telling you what the threshold is. It's always been the case that you don't want to have a high spam complaint number, right? But now what they've done is they've said, because it's always been sort of a mystery, like how did they decide, like what's the number that's too much before they're going to filter you to spam? Well, now they're telling you your spam rates need to be below 0.1%. That's what they want to see, is consistently below 0.1%, and it can never go up above, it can't go to 0.3 or higher. And what's crazy about this, if you are a low volume sender, is this means you can't have more than 1 out of 1,000 people report you as spam, or else you're screwed. You definitely can't have more than 3 out of 1,000 people. So that's actually for people who are sending very low amounts of email. That's actually really strict, because that means that they're gonna hurt you even if one person reports you as spam. I've been talking to people in the industry about this. There's a little bit of like uncertainty, like what is going to really happen if you're only sending to 100 people and one person reports you as spam, and that's already 1%. We're not sure what they're going to do, but we know what they're saying they're going to do here is your emails are just going to go to spam from then on if you're at this. So what you want to do is sign up for Google Postmaster Tools, okay? It is a free platform from Google where you can look at from your domain, you can see how many people are reporting you as spam, what your spam complaint rate is. Here's a domain that over the last 120 days, you can look at that rate. So like it never really gets above 0.1. I think here, October 25th, it was 0.2. So like these people are fine because this company is sending really good email, and the spam complaints are always really low. So now again, this applies to everyone. Even if you're sending a low amount of low volume of email, you have to make sure that you are keeping those spam complaints low. How do you do that? Make sure that you're only sending people who've opted in. It may be the case that people, depending on how strict they are with this stuff, I'm not going to recommend this now, but it may become the case, the standard that double opt-ins may become a smarter move, having someone confirm their opt-in subscription a second time, just because you're going to really want to keep these spam complaints non-existent. Overall, though, you're going to just want to make sure you're sending really good content. The amount of content shouldn't matter. The number of emails you send, should not impact this, but what impacts it is, are they good emails, right? Are they things people want to read? Give them every reason to not report you as spam. And so this is why, brands need to start embracing, if you're not already, good direct response emails that are thoughtful, that have, they come from a person, they're good, engaging messaging, and not just heavy promotion, sale, buy my stuff. All right. Because if you're doing that constantly, you're going to run more of a risk of getting spam complaints. So that's pretty much it. Those are the requirements. If you're interested in this stuff, I just want to do a little plug for our community email accelerator. We have an entire module in here that goes over, goes over deliverability. It's module 10 in the program. This is a community, by the way, in School for, if you're familiar with Sam Ovens' platform, School. It's a community for email marketers. We have some e-commerce businesses in here, and, email marketers, copywriters, designers, people that work with e-commerce businesses. This is really e-commerce email focused. But anyway, module 10 is all about deliverability. And so like everything that I just went over, everyone that's in Email Accelerator, they've already like been doing this stuff, because we go through everything, including, your reputation with Google Postmasters, sender scores, and we have like a whole section on that dedicated sending domain. By the way, when you switch over to a dedicated sending domain, you do have to warm it. You can't just start blasting emails on it. So that's something we talk about in here. And it's a whole, really comprehensive program, from just like email strategy, create it, like how to plan your promotions, promotional calendar planning, how to, set goals for your email marketing, list management, and then a ton on creative, like not only copywriting, right, is a big part of it, but even just like creative strategy, and then like graphic design, how to evaluate your email performance, and then flows. And this is it is a community, like I said, so there's like a lot of live things that we do in here. We have weekly calls, we have special workshops, and there's a lot of stuff in here. All right, I don't want to go on about it and promote it, but I'm kind of promoting it. I'll tell you what, we're not actually promoting this right now. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email or a message, and we'll be able to get you in here at a pretty substantial discount, just because we're not really actively promoting this community right now. But yeah. So anyway, make sure that you take care of this stuff. It's really important that you do this as soon as possible, because we don't really know when the actual impacts from these rules are going to be felt. And my guess is it's going to be within the next couple months. So, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. But I think that went over everything. And good luck, and make these changes, and happy sending.